Artistic Gamer 7, and welcome back to another speed build here on the channel. This is actually going to be a speed build of a community lot. If you've seen some of my speed builds in the past, I have been trying to actually basically make buildings and things like that in my own world and make them all sort of mine to some degree. There is a few things that are that I'm doing, like I've mentioned that I'm not getting rid of certain things, but I will be trying to sort of renovate them, basically, and change them up a little bit to make them a little bit more mine. Those are things like Vlad's place, the Goths, just because I feel like the Goths are just such a thing that just continue on the Sims. I didn't want to get rid of their place necessarily, but I am going to edit it. So I am slowly trying to make all the lots in. I'm sort of making a separate save and moving them over into my main save as I finish them and things like that. And I'm basically trying to make a complete entire world, all these worlds like my builds and things like that. And this one is in Willow Creek, and it is called the Creekside Cafe. So if you end up wanting to download this after the video, it will be up on the gallery for you to download. You can find it by searching Creekside Cafe or my origin ID, Artistic Gamer 7. So you could go there and see all the other builds if you want to look and see what other builds I potentially have for you to download and play with in your game if you would like to do so. So like you probably already figured where it's called Creekside Cafe, it is a little cafe that I'm building. I actually don't think I currently have any cafes in my main save, or if I do, I don't really visit them because I think I got rid of a lot of them. But in reality, I was like, I really sort of want at least one of every lot type, at least in one of the worlds. So I wanted a cafe to be somewhere. I chose Willow Creek. I don't know, I think I might have one other cafe because I sort of have some of them planned, or at least semi-planned ahead, and I haven't built them yet. But this one, obviously, I have built, and it is in Willow Creek. So yeah, this is my actual first cafe that I am making versus some of the other community lots. I don't use the cafes as much. I could easily, I think, honestly, when I think about it, I could have more function in using them if I would actually try, but I tend to not go to cafes when they were here on the community lots. I tend to, because a lot of times I'm trying to meet Sims and things like that, like I'm having my Sims try to meet Sims, basically, and I for some reason just don't, my first thought isn't cafe. I tend to have them I have stories of their friends are trying to get them to go out and have a good time, fun times, or try to get them to meet maybe a special someone, so they go to more places like bars and the little nightclubs and things like that. And then I use parks a lot for just little family outings and stuff like that. I don't tend to use cafes much, but honestly I easily could for friends and stuff, you know, they go have a little drink with friends and sit down and talk at the cafe. But for some reason I just never really used them too much, so I have got rid of all the cafes in my main save. But as time went on and I played more and more in my main save, I was like, I really need other places and other things for my Sims to go do other than just these few select things. So I am trying to make sure that I'm going to have at least one of every lot type somewhere in one of the worlds. Certain lot types I'm going to have more than one of, so they're one world will have one, another world will also potentially have one, so on and so forth, but not every world is gonna have every single lot type or whatever. I know I'll probably have more bars and nightclubs and lounges more than I will some of the others, but not every world is gonna have one of those. And I'm just gonna try to space it out basically the best I can. For me personally, so it's sort of a personal thing, how many of that community lot that I think that I would like to have. If it's one I'm going to commonly visit, then I want to have more so that it's something different. I'm not going to the same one every single time. So if it is a lounge, I don't want to have my Sims go to the same lounge every time, so I want more than one lounge. But something like a library and stuff, I don't tend to have my Sims go too much often because I give them things like computers and bookcases at their own place, so I'm not going to go there too often, so I'm probably not going to really be concerned about making sure there's multiple different ones. I won't see that one too often, so it won't matter that it's the only one. Eventually, after I fill up some of the worlds, I might just do some builds of lots and things like that just for fun, so I might build like another library even if it's not like in my world for my personal save, but just to build it and share it with you guys. I might eventually do stuff like that. But as of right now, I am going to end up using all these in like my own little save and my own little world. But I hope that you all like and enjoy them too. On to the cafe here that I'm building myself. I had no real like plan going in, I'll admit. When it comes to the community lots, I tend to not have a full-on idea, or like I only have like one very small idea, like I want to at least use this color, or I want it to have a porch or something like that. Like I tend to not have as many set plans for making the community lots as I do the houses. A lot of times with the houses, I at least have some sort of inspiration, whether it's multiple photos that I'm taking bits and pieces of it and sort of making a house based off of a few different photos, or maybe even just one photo. Or like I see like a building in real life and I like that like certain aspects of it, so I'm using that. I usually have more inspiration for my house builds than I do my lot builds, but I still want to try to give a different or unique take on the lot builds. I try with them. I feel like sometimes with my lot builds, they're not as good as my house builds, which I still don't think my house builds are like great and amazing, but I still am proud of them, and I still would like to share them with you all and everything. So if someone does end up liking them or finds them to a way that they can use them, then I definitely would like to share them and give them that opportunity to do so. But anyway, so with no real plan in mind, I just started building and sort of going with the flow of things, deciding things as I went. As I eventually started going with more tan colors, and then I wanted to add like hints of blue. You'll see that more on the inside than the outside here, because with the outside, especially right now, I'm mainly worrying about the exterior, which has like other colored plants and things like that. I have like one of those little flower bed things outside. I like putting those on community lots. I actually have those on a few of the community lots I've made, especially if you've seen the ones that I made for Oasis Springs. It was like 4 of them, and it's that section that is in a row. All of them have like a little planter box that's on like a slight raise, and that was sort of the common thread in between these 4 different places, even though the builds themselves were different and they were different lot types. I think it was like I had a nightclub, a restaurant thing, which was like a place to be like an ice cream creamery, a gym, and then a bar. So they were definitely not like, you know, the same type of lots. There were some different colors going on with each of them. They all had different color themes, but they all had that little planter bed thing on the outside of them in common. As for this, I just wanted to add it here as like a little middle piece of where the pathways both come up onto this little porch-like thing that I have going out here. But as you can see right now, I'm strongly mainly focusing on the outside, putting some floral things. I feel like, you know, with the outside, I wasn't sticking to the color scheme as much, partially because I was trying to fitting it into the surrounding areas. Also, with the floral, it can semi-tie it to the lots next door to it. Obviously, if you download this yourself, you can keep the floral or keep it the way it is if you want, and if you don't want to, you can obviously make some changes to it for your play style, however you're doing it. Plus, you know, you may not have the same buildings beside it. This one where I'm building it, it's actually on the end section, and I think there's like that little playground on the one side of it, and then my little restaurant, which I think was the Willow Tree Bar and Grill or something along those lines, which is why there's a willow tree in the back of it. Or maybe it's just the Willow Bar and Grill. It's something along those lines. Right now I'm forgetting like the actual name I gave it, but it's on the other side of it, so obviously you're probably not going to have the same building. I mean, if you want to download the bar, the little restaurant, the bar and grill restaurant that I have next door, feel free to do so. That is also going to be over on my origin gallery, blah, blah, words. If you are new to this channel, I continue to mess up my words a lot, so just get used to that. Anyway, back to our regularly scheduled program. The Creekside Cafe here. But yeah, you could feel free to download both of them if you would want. I also had this weird hole thing in that area. I don't really know how that happened. Sometimes I'm building and things happen and I get to them and I'm like, oh, how did this happen? And I don't know how it happened. But this case, even as I watch the build, I still don't know what happened. But, yeah, so feel free to download this little cafe. You can also download the restaurant that's next door. They're both going to be up on the gallery, as well as many other builds if you want to mosey through them and see if there's any that you would like. As a quick reminder, I will have the name of this build and my origin ID down in the description below, as well as for all of my speed builds. So it's just a little reminder if you watch the video and then when you go to finally, if you want to go download it, you forget what the name of the place is and you don't want to watch through the whole video to get my origin ID or the name of the build, you can quickly just scroll down to the description real quick, get a refreshing little reminder of the name, and then head back over to the gallery. Now, I am now in the inside, as you tell. I'm putting up the lights. I tend to put up no matter whether it is a community lot or it's a residential lot, I tend to actually make sure to try to put the lights up first, even before I do flooring and wallpaper, just because I want to be able to see the colors of the wallpaper, and also certain lights in The Sims 4 tends to give off different hues, which is technically in real life as well. So that makes sense to a certain degree. It's sometimes annoying when you're like trying to decorate the inside, but it at the same time makes sense. Some lights give like just pure like white looking light, some of them give a bluish hint, some have like this orangey tone tint or whatever. So I tend to put the lights down first just because I want to be able to see the actual colors of the objects I'm putting down, the colors of the wallpaper, the flooring, how it looks all together, and all the objects. I just want to make sure that I can see the colors, how they're actually going to look. I don't want to like, oh, I think these colors look together and then slap a light in there and be like, oh, with that light it looks real weird, but I like this light. So I tend to put the lights down first, and sometimes I put those little, I forget the name of them, it's the little round flat lights that sit up on the ceiling. They tend to have some of the like best lighting in the game, in my opinion. So I tend to sometimes sneak those in. I think I did it with these in a few places, and scale them down a little bit and actually put them in the other lights because I like the look of those lights, but they don't provide a very bright light. So I tend to put those little flat round lights and shrink them down with like the little brackets key or whatever. I think that's called a brackets key. And shrink them down so that you can't see them, but they're still providing more light into the area. So I think I've seen a lot of simmers actually do that, so I'm definitely not the first and not the only one to have done that. But if for some reason you haven't seen that or no one's like mentioned that's what they do, or you haven't noticed it in their builds, there's a little tip. If you want to still have pretty decorative lights but they don't show off enough light, you can put one of those on and then bam, it lights up the place pretty well. I tend to not put it on every single light. I tend to, if I have like 5 or 6 lights in the room, I tend to only put it on 2 or 3 of them. Just enough to scatter the light around the room evenly. That's basically what I do. Now, as of right now, you're seeing me put a bunch of paintings on the wall, and in my head, I decided that since this is sort of like the little cafe, the feel that I sort of wanted to get for this cafe is that this cafe's been here a while, but it's sort of like they sort of try to bring new things in every once in a while, and it's like a community effort and like sort of all that stuff. So in my head, all these little, some of them you can get as a group of paintings. In my head, every individual painting or whatever is here or picture has been taken or painted or made by different Sims, different people throughout the community of Willow Creek. And I do it on both of these walls, and I try to make sure I'm pretty sure I don't use the same picture twice. I may, like, unless I, like, took it and changed, like, the swatch color and it's enough, like, it's quite different enough that it looks like a brand new painting. So I do it on both walls, and it's sort of just, like, multiple people have brought these in to decorate these walls, and that's sort of the theme. Eventually, maybe I didn't do it all the way around, but eventually maybe I will, and if you want to, you can also, just so it sort of continues the story. So, like, they've run out of wall space on these 2 walls, so they're going to start sticking them up on the other walls on that little center area, which eventually is the bathrooms, by the way. if you are wondering. But right now, I'm not worried about the bathrooms. I'm worried about around the whole thing. But this area back here is a little TV area. So it's sort of secluded and separated from the rest of the area where people can sort of sit and talk and drink some coffee or whatever they want to drink there. So yeah, I definitely wanted to make sure there was like a few different forms of entertainment. There is like a little music radio, but it's not like a fancy one. It's sort of like the owner of whatever this decided to just plop in like not too expensive radio, or at least it looks like it. I don't remember how far, like expense-wise, how far up there it is. But just so that some of the people, if they're sitting at the bar there, they can listen to a tune. But, you know, probably not too loud so that the people sitting over the TV have to hear it or whatever and stuff like that. But just try to give it like a cozy feel along with having things for your Sims to do if they were here other than just sit and talk. So there's music, there's the TV, and then there's also just the simple areas inside and outside just to talk and enjoy each other's company. This little decorative area I'm doing here in this corner, I really wanted to do, like, I got it in my head. But to place those blue flowers there to make it look like, you know, they were also in this planter, it took a while, and I had to take down the walls because they just kept wanting to cling to the wall, and I didn't want them to cling to the wall, so I had to take down the wall for this, and then rebuild the wall. So, you know, it was probably more effort than it was partially worth, but you know what? I did it anyway, and I liked the outcome. And that little square on the end of that area, I partially did that because I know from a few builds I've done, one of them that is recently was the Glimmer Brick home. When you have bathrooms that have a lot of angles and stuff, sometimes it's really hard to do or have those drastic points, so I actually gave some more flat wall in the bathrooms by making that little square thing. And I decided to make it more of a decorative little glass thing, so I actually put some stuff inside of there. Obviously now I'm starting to decorate, and took me a while. I think it took me a while to figure out exactly what I was going to do inside that little glass area, but it is a lot of blue in there, and I just start trying different like statues and plants. I think I'll eventually decide on some sort of plant. I want to say the bamboo thing, but as of right now I haven't got to that point yet, so I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, I was trying all sorts of stuff, and I mainly wanted to try to keep the blue pretty strong in this, like, little lighted up decorative corner window thing here, window box, or whatever, because, like I said, I decided the themes were going to be, like, tan, brown, and blue, but I wanted the blue to be a little bit stronger in the inside than it was on the outside, while the tans were sort of more on the outside. I do hope you really end up liking this build and this video. I definitely was actually pretty happy with this cafe. It wasn't like too complex, but I was still to the point I was actually quite proud of it, and I was excited to have done it, and now it's going to be in my game for Sims to actually go and sit down and have a cup of coffee and just chat and just enjoy time together and such. I don't think I ended up putting anything on those walls, but I was experimenting because at the same time I was like, I feel like they're plain, but maybe not. I also really like that wreath. I'm just to let you know, I really like that wreath. Oh, maybe I do keep those on the wall. I don't remember. I was trying a lot of things. I tend to just experiment in a lot of these builds. If you do go to download this, I will say I did not exclude any packs from while building this. I don't know which all packs actually ended up making it in, but you can easily click, when you click on the build, you can easily click on the little pack symbol down below of any of the packs you don't have and see what items are actually in the build from that particular pack. At least last time I checked, that's still how it worked. Let me know if for some reason it changed, but I don't think it changed, because I think I checked it not too long ago and it still did that. But yeah, so it will let you know which stuff are from what pack. If it ends up only being like 1 or 2 items, you know, that's easy fix for you. For you. You only have to add 1 or 2 items, and it may be a minor item that you don't really care so much. I know with all the paintings, I probably ended up getting more packs, a lot of packs mentioned in there, just because I put all those different paintings on those walls, and I was trying to make sure that it was all sorts of different. Anyway, you are seeing the screenshots now. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to hit that lovely like button if you did. Subscribe if you're not already, so that you don't miss out on the next build and other things that I do. Make sure to hit the little notification bell so that you're notified when a new video goes live. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!